Welcome to the ICO Alert Roundtable. I'm Q.
I'm Ev, and we're your hosts.
The Roundtable is a casual discussion about current events and coins that we're passionate about.
Before we get started, it's important that we disclose this is not financial, legal, professional, or tax advice. We're simply stating our own opinions, and those opinions do not represent the views of ICO Alert, the company.
We'd also like to disclose that members of the podcast who are speaking own the following cryptocurrencies or tokens: Bitcoin, EOS, Cardano, Ethereum, Quantum, NEO, and NEM. Without further ado, let's get into the ICO Alert Roundtable.
Why don't we all introduce ourselves around the table? I will start off. I am Evan Schindler. I am a customer relationship manager here at ICOalert.com.
I'm Peter Kay. I'm the director of globalization and do a lot of blog content for ICO Alert.
I'm Dimitry, client relationship manager. Добро пожаловать всем русскоговорящим на подкаст.
I cannot follow that. Zach Quezada, business development.
So what are we talking about here today on this roundtable, Zach?
Yeah, so let's take a deep dive. We'll have Pete start. Maybe talk about consensus a little bit. I know you and Dimitry both went to consensus last week. So if you want to take a dive there and see where we go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'll address our English-speaking listeners, and Dima can translate into Russian. We headed off to consensus with a couple of other team members last week in New York Blockchain Week. Huge conference at a very small venue. It was a hotel with 8,500 people in it, crammed in the hallways. There were a number of notable absences, like Vitalik, a lot of Ethereum people, Hoskinson, Cardano, NEO. Those groups weren't there. Some of them like boycotted consensus. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but
I did hear about Vitalik.
Yeah, they boycotted it because they don't like CoinDesk. I mean, it's more complicated than that. But anyway, it was a huge event. There were lots of after parties, which Tima can tell you about, I'm sure.
Yeah, we can definitely touch on those. But how about that registration line in the beginning? That was brutal.
Jeez, I swear they were running that thing on Ethereum because it was hours. Mike Novogratz was on Laura Shin's podcast the other day. He said he snuck up a back stairway to bypass the line. Yeah, because he couldn't wait that long.
Yeah, so the registration was pretty brutal. It took about an hour and a half for us to really get inside and start like meeting up with everybody. As you can imagine, the schedule overall was pretty packed with meetings, and it was a scramble. Everybody was meeting everyone, and there was no room to chill and relax because there were so many people at once, and everybody is trying to grab you to.
How long did you guys say you waited in line?
An hour and a half.
An hour and a half to
That's
register.
not that bad.
Yeah.
And did anybody put out the attendance totals yet? Does anybody know ballpark figures? Because I know tickets. So if it was 8,500 and tickets were $2,000, how much money did they make off of that?
Quick.
Well, you could buy tickets on site for $3,000 too. So
Yeah.
What was the cost? $2,000.
come on, guys, you can do this.
Looks like 17 mil.
Oh, wow.
And overall, it wasn't really. I didn't see a lot of great like publicity or press from consensus, and there wasn't like a huge annual pump that people talk about every year.
So here's something interesting to think about. Like to talk about the panel and the speakers that they had there. I feel like I didn't have much time to attend that and listen to it, but I got a gist of it from just kind of popping in and out. And it was very structured in terms of what they can say, because it's consensus and it's recorded, and they don't want to say something bad that will backfire compared to like smaller venues where they can be more open, essentially.
So they also said nothing good, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to reference that this consensus this year with the one that happened last year and see how they changed, because I guarantee that the content and what they were saying, just like Dima's talking about right now, 100% changed.
Were either of you guys that were at consensus this year happened to be there in years past to compare it?
No, but we were at Token Fest, and we can definitely compare that.
Well, I can compare with what I know of consensus last year. There was a lot more money seeking this year, and there was
Lambos
a lot
parked
more.
out front.
Well, the Lambos are actually a publicity stunt.
Yeah, it was
thing.
really-
I think it was Bizan, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me. We can check on that.
The Lambos were there for like only like 2-3 hours. I
Yeah,
came
do you remember-
outside
do
and I
you
was like,
remember
let me
those
take a
guys?
picture.
Do you remember
And they
those
were
guys?
gone.
Do you remember those guys with like the banners hanging out free lunch tokens
Yeah,
outside?
mhm.
They were relatively unknown, and I guess maybe because of that, but maybe not. They hit their cap like really fast
really?
that day.
Wow.
Yeah. And there was other people hanging around outside too. I got to talk with a rainbow hoodied protester who was sleeping outside some of the time. Did a little bit of video of him. He's protesting NEM. He believes that NEM owes him 4.5 million tokens. He, of course, loves that I'm mentioning this on the podcast. But, from all the evidence I've seen, he just missed his
got it.
opportunity,
So what was can you tell the story and what was his
Yeah,
side?
if you want to see the video, you can go to my Twitter at
Oh my
Bitgenstein.
God. There's the show. There we go. Perfect.
He basically missed the deadline.
Missed the
He had
deadline
done what was
for-
required to get a lot of NEM early on
Okay.
in the project, participated, and then lost track of the project. He doesn't have time, he says, to check the Bitcoin talk all the time and stuff. And we're talking like 2 years after the deadline or a year after the deadline, when it had expired a long time ago and NEM hit like $1. He was like, actually, you guys owe me and my son 4.5 million NEM.
Interesting.
So he's at events a lot. Sometimes you'll talk to him, he's really calm, and sometimes he's really angry. So I don't know. Maybe there's details I don't know, but it seems to me to be pretty clear cut.
Yeah, that reminds me of what's happening with the EOS registration right now. So it's essentially, basically, if I had to kind of, compare it to what's happening with the EOS registration, it would be essentially that I have my EOS and I don't register it, and then a year later, I'm complaining to EOS saying, you guys owe me such and such amount of money. That's what's happening? Okay.
Absolutely.
What are you guys' thoughts overall on consensus moving forward for cryptocurrency and the cryptocurrency culture? Because a lot of cryptocurrencies are trying to become this mainstream thing. So you think that if attendance is doubling or tripling from the year prior, it's a good thing. But were some of the interactions you had, were they shallow interactions where people are just there to just try and raise funds and it's a bubble, or there's not a lot of substance there's not a lot of really thought leaders? Or was it actually people are coming in, the core is growing, there's actual good innovation there? What was your feeling overall, and what do you think moving forward? How does consensus continue to progress, and how does crypto overall, how's it affected by this type of thing?
I'll take this one if you don't mind. So
He minds.
Wait, okay. Well, I'll still take it. So
I'll translate for you.
couple trends that I've noticed as the space is moving forward, and compare like Token Fest and Consensus, is that more and more projects that I see now, they're doing security auditing for smart contracts. They're providing tools for ICOs to be able to kind of give more security to the people that are looking to invest in the project. So that was a big thing. I've come across a lot of those projects where they're looking to do that, as well as ICOs that already finished ICO and they were present there to keep their community active. So a lot of things that I've spoken to many ICOs, and they said that during the ICO itself, the community is very active, and the team behind the ICO is very active in communicating on what's going on, and the plans and so on. But post ICO, essentially that community drops off, and the team doesn't necessarily communicate all the announcements and the progress and so on. So there was a huge presence for that to kind of communicate, hey, we're out here and we're doing all these projects that we promised, and here's how we're delivering them, and so on. So and a lot of the market agencies that I've spoken to, they say that actually there's a big problem in the ICO community where the post-ICO, like Telegram communities or the communities that they've developed during the ICO, they've actually dropped off dramatically because they don't know how to facilitate that. So that was one of the biggest things that was really a big takeaway.
So it's almost kind of a challenge for the ICOs to hold on to the people who have, or the users that have invested in their project, because once it goes live on exchanges, they're looking to maybe dump them right when it hits exchanges, or right when it goes 2x, they're looking to get money back from their investment. So,
absolutely.
Okay.
And you think about it, right? You have a team of that, let's say ICO project, they hold a certain percentage of it, right? And most of them, legit ones, have a lockup period, right?
Yeah.
So then the ICO hits the exchange, and suddenly they're, it's dumping, while the team is like, well, wait a minute, why is this going on? We're locked up, we can't, dump it with everybody else, and overall they believe in the project. So I think there needs to be more communication. There needs to be more stuff that's done to be more transparent post ICO.
They need to be marketing the project and the roadmap instead of just the token sale, basically.
Yeah.
And this actually brings up something interesting that's not related to consensus, but something that I did, I think, last week. And I don't know if Peter was there. I know for sure Ryan was there. I was browsing on ICOalert.com, the only comprehensive search engine for pre-ICOs and ICOs. And I wanted to see what were some of the first projects we ever had on our list. And I scrolled all the way down. I mean, that infinity scroll goes on forever. And I scrolled to the very bottom of the page to check out the first 2 or 3 projects that we ever had listed by date. Because I wanted to see, are they still hanging out? What's going on? Did they exit scam? What the hell's going on? And to my surprise, actually, I think I checked out 3 of them. And of the 3 that we checked out, 2 of them were up to date on Twitter. They had products going on. Maybe they were still in beta phase, but they had users. They had some interaction with the public still. And it was actually kind of a pleasant surprise on my part to see that maybe they raised funds in February of 2017, but they were still active. They were still building their products and trying to sort of cultivate their community.
That's a great point.
Well, yeah, I think there's probably a little bit less of the dollar signs in the eyes effect back in February of 2017, right? The people that were in crypto, more of them were really about crypto taking over the world and blockchain changing the world. They'd lived through the doldrums that just proceeded. They didn't, they weren't yet millionaires. And whereas nowadays, I'm not saying all ICOs are like this, but there are definitely ICOs out there that are like, wait, we could raise $150 million with very little effort.
Absolutely.
So maybe the quality overall was a little bit better back then, actually. But speaking of quality getting better again, I guess, one of my takeaways from Consensus was there are a lot of people there from the traditional finance world that are trying to get into crypto. And that's encouraging because it means that they're taking it seriously. It's also kind of annoying because it's like they're trying to, they missed the boat and they're trying to grab it by the rudder or whatever and just let it pull them along.
Yeah.
One of the things that's happening, like Dima mentioned, is securities tokens kind of becoming Reg D offerings, accredited investors only. And I talked with this group. They are not sponsoring this podcast in any way, Republic Crypto. And they've already facilitated this a few times, and they're working to do it more. They allow ICO that is doing a Reg D offering for accredited investors only to also do a smaller offering that's open to non-accredited investors. A Reg CF, or eventually maybe they're hoping to get a Reg A+, which is very rare. So the company on a Reg CF can only raise something like $1,070,000 max in that, but it lets the little people get involved.
Yeah, I know we've talked about STOs for a little while now, and the come up that's happening with those security tokens or the security token offerings. And I think most of it's been positive. I think we see it as kind of cash flow coming into crypto. But some of it is, again, it goes completely away from what ICOs were essentially made to do, which is kind of give investment opportunities to the non-accredited investors. So it's a double-edged sword a little bit. I saw something on Twitter that said maybe one day, at least for STOs, they might change the rules for what an accredited investor might be. Like maybe bring it down from whatever the rule is. What is it, 300K? Is it
200K a year for 2 years, or $1 million in assets, not including your house?
Exactly.
Primary
So
residence.
Yeah, one of the tweets I saw was that maybe they'd change the rules for security token offerings. I think it's a little pie in the sky. I think what's happening now is traditional finance is seeing that they missed out, and they're, looking to do what they do, which is completely take over.
That makes sense. And also, you have to keep in mind that when you open up crowdfunding for very ambitious tech projects that are looking to revolutionize, be the first blockchain technology, to do whatever they want to do.
They're all the first to doing something.
Yeah, it comes with its own risks. And that's something that we can't just restrict it to accredited investors, but we can also, somehow facilitate this and make sure that people understand the risk. That not all of them will be successful in making the revolution. What they intend to do. So
for you guys who are at Consensus, were there any ICOs there that caught your eye? Any MVPs or anything that you saw that was tangible and maybe some of our listeners would be excited to hear more about?
NEM had a big presence there. I just wrote about NEM, so maybe I'm like a little bit of, ride the wave down bias, I guess. And NEM had a big presence there, New Economy Movement. And they had like maybe 10 other companies there that are running projects on their platform. They haven't really seen that many ICOs yet. I mean, Loyal Token was recent, and there are a couple others. But they have a lot more coming. And it's an ecosystem that's already up. And I think that's kind of exciting. People like to see ICOs that are coming out on Neo or EOS or something, or Stellar, as just something new, and as an ICO that's not going to have to struggle with Ethereum's scalability problems for the short term. And we're going to probably be seeing some more NEM ICOs coming out.
So
pretty soon.
For those that aren't familiar with your Ethereum competitor blog, I would definitely go check out Pete's blog series on that. Can you break down NEM though? Because I know there's some people that have no idea what NEM is.
Just a Spark Milk version.
And me, Ev, and Dimitry might be some of those.
Yeah.
Well, NEM's a platform for smart contracts and decentralized apps, just like Ethereum, even though there's differences. It's trying to fit the same general idea that Ethereum and EOS, eventually Cardano, and Neo are trying to fit. But with NEM, you build your decentralized application with templates. So it's kind of like, rather than having to, take some plastic and build a statue, you get Lego blocks and you can you build it up, and it's kind of standardized, which actually means it's safer. If there are these audited templates that do certain functions for you, you're not sitting there writing your own code to interact with the blockchain, and then, the Parity wallet, freezes, or, the DAO has a vulnerability that gets hacked or something like that. On the flip side, that means that sometimes there might be some things you want to do that you can't, but their templates are growing. They say that you could do 95% of the things that Ethereum apps want to do on NEM now. It's got thousands of transactions a second. It doesn't run on proof of work like Bitcoin, Ethereum. And it's a little controversial, but it allows it to, within under 30 seconds, you've got confidence, confirmation of your transactions. So one of the features in NEM that I'm excited about is multi-level, multi-sig transactions. And you can figure why I got that mixed up. Multi-level, multi-sig. Basically, it lets you control your wallet with like one control source or two other control sources. And that doesn't make sense until I explain it. You can move your NEM with your hardware wallet without anything else approving, for example, because you think that's secure. It's at home or whatever. It's in a safe. Or you can move it with your web wallet, but that also requires your two-factor or an anti-fraud, a fraud detection API or something to sign off on it. So you can use your web wallet, but that requires like a fraud API to approve or your two-factor code. But if you use your hardware wallet, it has like sole authority. You know what I'm saying?
So you folks at home can't see this, but Pete just got so excited with his animations when he's talking about NEM. So excited.
Yeah, well, you've seen me talk about EOS and stuff too, and I just love smart contract platforms.
So my follow-up question would be, so who have you done Ethereum competitor series for?
It's going by market cap, but I started with Rootstock because that's kind of Bitcoin. And then I've done EOS, Cardano, Neo, and this is NEM. Next up is Qtum.
So what is the closest competitor to Ethereum right now?
Oof. In terms of what? Like EOS is launching June 1st.
Yeah.
And it
we
has
know.
a number of it has, I mean, well, it's probably launching.
Yeah,
June 1st,
that's
right?
true. That's true. I could totally see them moving that back 100%.
No, what I mean is them is the community. So yes, they could decide otherwise, right? And I think that probably has the most immediate chance against Ethereum. Yeah.
And also you have to think about this, that whatever the plan is to implement this technology, right, it's not always how it's going to work out once it's implemented. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, sounds great on paper, but in practice, it has some vulnerabilities or some issues. So it's kind of hard to, you know, say which one's going to be the leader.
Of course.
Without, you know, having that, you know, already start playing out and be already available to build applications and so on.
Well, that's like Bitcoin. You read the Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, Bitcoin, it sounds pretty decentralized. But in practice, and I think Dan Laramorios actually kind of foresaw this on some old forum posts where he's talking with Satoshi about it. In practice, we ended up with these 3 mining pools that dominate the network. It's centralized. You know, that's an pretty much unforeseen, you know, consequence. And, you know, who knows? Yeah.
So
It's definitely still a gamble to invest in any of these.
we'll definitely see. One thing that I want to also mention about just kind of going back to consensus and the trends is that what I've noticed is that there are a lot of platforms out there that are coming out now where you can do what's called mirror trading. Basically, you're a retail investor in crypto, and let's say you don't have enough time to do technical analysis, find out more about the project. Well, guess what? Now what you can do is follow these traders that are supposedly leaders in the industry, and they're based on whatever the project is, they're ranked in the ecosystem itself, and you can choose to follow that trader and replicate the trades on your side. So it makes it easy. So
Where can I follow you?
So yeah, right now my rating is too low to be followed.
Oh, wow.
But and also those projects, those platforms are not yet like live. But once they're live and I'm listed, I'll definitely send you a link so you can follow me.
Ian Bolina.
But what I'm trying to say is that coming from Forex, Forex markets, we had this. So we went through this phase of having a platform that allows you to mirror trades from other traders. And it's funny because I talked to, I don't remember the exact names of the ICOs, but I've talked to multiple ICOs that had that platform, and they're trying to develop it. And they all come from Forex. And it's so interesting. I'm like, hey, you know, I know what you guys are doing. And the thing is, it's important to understand that Forex is actually the most liquid market out there, right? So when you have a trader that's doing, let's say, he just did a trade and it automatically is replicated on your end, no problem. It's the most liquid, you know, type of platform. I mean, type of market. So, but when you're doing this in crypto, you know, the trader that you're following might be executing a trade on an exchange where he saw an opportunity, but the exchange that you are on, there's no opportunity. So there are certain things that we'll see how those platforms will perform, you know, when they come out.
So
Yeah, so moving on to consensus, I know Ev wanted to talk about a little bit about the website and coin that the SEC decided they wanted to run an ICO with. So, yeah, go ahead, Ev.
Well, so the SEC, if you've not heard of them, the Securities Exchange Commission, they know how you should spend your money better than you do, apparently.
Obviously.
And they, in a great attempt, not even an attempt, in a success to warn investors about the risks of ICOs, created their own ICO, and it's called Howey Coin. I believe it's Howey.
Looking this up.
And you can go check it out online right now. It's a project that is only for the lavish and the soon-to-be rich off of crypto. I guess their whole idea behind the project was to mimic greed. The point of the entire thing is greed. The thing is, they didn't even do a good job of making it look like a good ICO. We do a lot of internal vetting here of projects at ICO Alert, and if I saw this project, I would have not had it been listed on our site because it's such a shitcoin.
Well, I thought that was the whole point, that they were trying to recreate a shitty ICO. Was that not the point of Howey Coin?
This is where I don't get it, because the government has made a lot of websites before and they've done a really bad job with them before. And I can't tell if they're actually trying to make it look shitty or if that was their best attempt at making it look legit.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
So if it was their best attempt at making it look legit, they did a pretty trash job, because the team has no backlinks to their sites.
Yep.
They're all models, and there isn't even, I don't think there's a white paper.
Hey man, there's a picture of an infinity pool on the front page. So
That's got to be legit.
it has to be. They're in some type of tropical island.
Now, the funny thing is, watch someone make a parody coin called Howey Coin, and people actually flip it and make money off of it. Watch that happen.
Pied Piper Coin.
Yeah,
Pied Piper Coin did the same thing. So another report that we did, we like to have a little fun around here at ICO Alert, is we did a report on HBO's Silicon Valley. They had an ICO for one of their episodes this year, Pied Piper. So Pete and I took it upon ourselves to actually write a review on it. Lo and behold, about a week later, there's a Twitter AV out there with what's the CEO's name of
Pied Piper? Richard Hendricks.
Yeah, Richard Hendricks AV's out there on Twitter, and they made a parody coin, and it actually, I mean, who knows? They just keep posting prices.
That's
but
true.
Apparently, it's doing pretty well. So
the funniest thing about our report that we posted, because it was 100% a parody report, but if you go onto Twitter, onto the post that we made, we said, hey, this is the Pied Piper report we just posted. And there were people on there like, hey, doesn't this, like ABC, yeah, doesn't this coin already do this? Or like, oh my God, it was just a parody. You guys obviously aren't up to date on Silicon Valley. Did you guys get a chance to watch that?
I watched parts of it, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. I thought they did a really good job. People could have botched. Shows could have easily botched that, and they did actually a really good job. Do you differ here?
I mean, yeah, I think Guilfoyle's explanation of cryptocurrency, I appreciated it, and you can go and download his little PowerPoint. Mm-hmm. But they neglected the fact that when an ICO raises money, it gets a lot of ether. Like that's how it raises money. And at the end of their ICO, they were broke because their token price was low, and it's not how it works.
Yeah.
The 51% attack episode. Spoiler warning.
Yeah, don't.
Also got the attack completely wrong. Mm-hmm. Like how you can execute a 51% attack with like 33% of, it's a misnomer.
Interesting.
But hey, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool that they the episode actually was called Initial Coin Offering, so I know everybody in the office was real excited about that.
As far as Howey Coin goes, I don't know. From a marketing perspective, the SEC did a good job because they've got us all talking about it on the podcast. But
so true.
Is there a single person out there who looked at Howey Coin and went, "Wow, this is a great investment. This is awesome"? And then when they went to go contribute, the SEC warning came up and said, "This is just a scam." Did the Howey Coin actually teach anyone a lesson?
You know what?
That's what I don't get. They're wasting their resources doing this kind of thing, and I hate the smugness of them to think that people are so stupid that they're going to look at a website like that and not immediately throw up the red flags. So I think that's why it really turned me off seeing that. It's like, okay, SEC, you know how I should spend my money better than I do, where it's not something that no one out there was fooled by this website. So I don't know. That's the reason why I didn't really like it.
I think the problem is that they don't really know how to make people aware that there are these problems and scams out there, right? So they came out, a lot of officials came out saying that there are a lot of scams, very risky, you should not be doing this, all these public statements that they did. And, essentially it continued to happen, and those statements didn't make much of an impact. So they're testing waters and they're trying to, try a different method. I don't necessarily agree with that either, but from their standpoint, what is the right method to kind of, they don't have a regulation in place, so they can do so much to kind of just warn about the risks of it. And that's kind of, again, coming back to what I said, is that when you open up crowd sale towards these projects, ambitious projects, some of the players take advantage of that and they do total scams. Some of them actually just fail because it was just a bad business idea. But people don't really think of that when they're, let's say, investing in it, because they see the like what the project is supposed to do. It's great. It's gonna do it, and it's just like startups.
They see the flashy infinity pool and the glasses of champagne.
Yes, they see that guy on the beach with the laptop. He's a crypto trader. They see a boat and a yacht. Like great. That's what they see.
Yeah.
Great. Pete just took the mic and said, yeah.
Pete and I are sharing the mic, so if it seems like there's some pauses between us talking, it's because we have to flip the mic back and forth. So
one of the most interesting debates that I think right now, and this just goes along with what we were talking about, it's not just out of the blue. So one of the most interesting things, at least I think, will come up in the next probably 6 months to a year is, are these ICOs going to get more scammy because more and more people are coming into the market and want to take advantage of the crowdfunding, or are they going to get less scammy because more regulations coming, more eyes are coming, SEC is watching? And I've heard both sides. So I wonder what you guys think. Are ICOs going to get more and more quality? Because from our internal vetting, I don't see that happening.
I'd almost say the answer is yes, like both ways. Like that there will be more and more scammy ICOs, but then the bar will also be going up higher for ICOs that want to do really well. So you'll see ICOs becoming higher quality ICOs, but then also more scammy ICOs. You know what I'm saying?
That the bar for scammy ICO will go higher, like meaning that the scams will
maybe
get better and better at scamming.
well,
I mean, one of the things at Consensus that we can notice is that there is a lot of innovation going on. I know there are a lot of projects that, but there's a lot of innovation going on. The tech cycle needs to catch up to the hype cycle, which is one of the reasons we're probably having this price movement we're having right now. Crypto's just dumped pretty good today. Like we didn't get the consensus pump, but we got the consensus dump.
The price is
dump it.
But the tech is going on. Really, really significant people are getting pulled in. Yeah. You saw Amber Baldett. This is old news, but she left and her place at JP Morgan and is now working in a blockchain company. Yeah. The CEO of Goldman Sachs is leaving Goldman.
Yeah.
Maybe he just wants to kind of retire at the top. But he might also be moving into who knows? He hasn't been against crypto. He's been kind of ambivalent on it. So like there's a lot of the people that have the talent are moving out of the old financial space, a lot of them into this space. There's a lot of innovation going on. So I think we're going to see a lot of both kinds of projects. Yeah. They're both going to multiply. There's going to be a lot of amazing projects that come out, and then there's going to be a lot of projects just trying to trick you.
Yeah, so of the last 25, maybe 30 ICOs that you looked at, how many of those ICOs were so either illegitimate or not quality enough to make it on our calendar?
That's actually a really good question. I think if I'm doing 25 or 30, on average, maybe at least 4 to 6 are projects that just don't even need to be on our website because it's not good for our brand to even allow those to be on the website. Now, some projects maybe aren't far enough along where maybe they don't have a white paper yet, so you need to sort of give them some time and maybe come back around. Where things really get tricky is when projects have good technology and you can tell that they're working on the tech and they're focusing on the tech, but they're not into the marketing. So any investor who goes out there and wants to invest in an ICO, the first thing you do is look at their website. Then you check out their team, make sure they got their backlinks all correct. Then you look at the white paper, you take a deep dive into that. If this is a team full of computer scientists who really don't have enough money and they're bootlegging this on maybe their crypto gains from the last year or whatever. They might not have a marketing genius there to build them a nice looking website or something like that. So it becomes tricky with us, and that's why we try to be as objective as possible.
Yep.
And we always say it's not up to me to decide whether a project's good or not. The market will decide. And so that's why we try to be as comprehensive as possible. But we do some things where we reverse image search the team pictures. So if they've got a team full of models and they stole their images from
those.
Abercrombie and Fitch and their white paper is 100%, plagiarized or whatever, then we'll definitely flag that and keep it off.
It's so funny. I actually, one of the ICOs I vetted today, and it was hilarious. So I go to the team page and they have 3 different positions, but it's the same guy, just in a different pose and different and different clothes. Like the exact same guy. I'm like, come on, guys! Like, are you serious? Like, this guy is the CEO. He's also the lead developer. He's also the CMO. Like, what is going? I can see it's the same, unless there are 3
hey, man,
triplets. Yeah, and I was just like, I had to show it around the office because we had a good laugh.
Go ahead, Pete.
Well, I mean, maybe you saw this one. I found NASO Coin. It's NASO. And there's a tweet from NASO Coin, and maybe I can't tell actually what platform it's on, but I took the screenshot. He says it's called admin. That's his account name. Why is it called NASO and not NASA? If you notice their logo, they're obviously trying to imply that they're with NASA.
God.
Well, he says, our department doesn't allow us to name it NASA before the ICO is over. After the ICO, we'll change it to NASA Coin.
Of course.
And so there's this picture of this guy, the admin. And so I did a little bit of detective work. Turns out he's an actor on the show Vikings.
Nice.
I just put him up as the admin, said NASO Coin. I don't know how NASO Coin's doing right now, but I hope it's doing really poorly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we come across quite a bit of projects that give us a good laugh, and we just kind of see what's going on with new projects that try to come to us and ask us to be listed when we totally know that they're up to no good.
Yeah.
And overall, a lot of the scams are obvious to someone who's been in the space long enough to do a minimal amount of vetting. But kind of to Q's point, where we're looking at these projects and are they getting more scammy? Is the bar getting set higher? That's another danger too.
Yeah.
Is I just talked about how there's companies that have really good core tech and bad marketing. There's also companies that have really good marketing and no core tech or nothing. It's just vaporware.
And they're really stepping up their game.
And they are stepping up their game lately. So you got to be very careful of things like that. And which is why I think the Howey Coin thing just was such a miss, because the marketing was so bad and it was so blatantly obvious, where if they would have actually taken their time and made it a legit ass coin, where I'm like, wow, this is good. This is a cool concept. It's an original concept. It's something like that if it was a real thing, I would invest. That would make me think twice. Like, okay, this actually makes sense.
I see your point now.
Right? So if you put $100,000 into a website and you've got a sick video, and I mean, there's a lot of these coins out there that have that, but they have no proof of concept, no MVP. You got to be very careful of those things as an investor. And that's where the real danger therein lies, is projects like that.
So you're saying if they went the whole way, that they went the SEC went 10% of the way there. They kind of just threw it up and it didn't really scare anybody. Whereas if they went 100% of the way and people were like, holy shit, Howey Coin. And then it's
what would have been crazy if they would have done it? They should have just did an ICO and then gave everybody their money back and then been like, hey, by the way, this is the SEC. Yeah. Be fucking careful what you're doing with your money. That would have been real legit. Mic drop.
We got Warren Buffett on there. Hey, what's up?
For those that don't know, we have that on a running repeat in our office.
We have a soundboard.
Carlos Matos.
Yeah.
So a huge announcement, and I don't want to miss it. It's one of the biggest announcements we've got in the recent past, and not an ICO Alert announcement, but Coinbase announcement. Coinbase GDAX is no more. I mean, don't go. It's not hacked. It's not hacked. Don't go there, and panic because you send money there. But as of June 29th, GDAX will be down, and it's turning into Coinbase Pro, which is to build out this institutional suite of things that Coinbase has been working on. They've been working on custody and index fund and stuff. So now it's going to be Coinbase Pro. And Coinbase also acquired Paradex, a decentralized exchange where people can use their ledgers or hardware wallets even, and trade any ERC20 tokens to each other. And they plan to roll out apparently hundreds of tokens. And maybe the source is wrong and they're going to, restrict it. But apparently they're going to roll out hundreds of tokens to international clients first on Paradex. And then they intend to do the same for the US, which we've seen Coinbase say we're ready for ERC20. We haven't known what assets. Hilariously, today's announcement is not that they're adding Ripple to Coinbase. We're going to see ERC20 tokens, maybe lots of them, trading on Coinbase really soon on a decentralized exchange framework, as far as we can tell.
You're making me happy right now.
That's big news. Yeah, I think that's huge news.
Yeah, absolutely.
So buy Coinbase.
This actually brings up something that I was thinking about the other day. Is there any other website out there besides Coinbase where if you hold crypto and you want to convert it into cash, you could do so? Because I know Coinbase, they keep track of taxation and all that stuff. So say you're out there and you're trying to not that I'm advocating getting around taxes or anything like that, but is there like a decentralized version of something where you can go and kind of
link your bank account? I see. Yeah. Okay.
Or how is there any other alternatives out there that I'm sure Pete probably knows of 12.
Well, in the US, you've got Gemini. There might be a couple of others. Obviously, you could go sell your Bitcoins on local Bitcoins to somebody from around here. You go to a Bitcoin ATM. But Binance is moving to Malta, and apparently they're going to start working with fiat. There are other exchanges that might not work with U.S. customers, but you can do that. But definitely, looking at Gemini.
Yeah, Gemini's one of them. Yeah.
Gemini's the Winklevoss twins, correct?
Yeah.
They're founders of that. Okay. Very cool. Well, we're kind of winding down here. Did you guys have any last thoughts on any ICO topics? I know one thing I wanted to go over was the tweet that we put out, which is what has been the most exciting ICO of 2018 so far. And I just want to say that if you get your bots to tweet out on Twitter to any tweet that we post, it looks sketchy as hell.
Yeah.
And we're not going to mention you ever.
No, yeah. So,
as a matter of fact, we're going to report you.
Yeah, so I was really excited. I saw 150 comments on this post that we had. Well, now it's up to 249. And it's what's been the most exciting ICO of 2018 so far. I see 150 comments. I'm like, oh my God, this is the community. It's going to be great. And I go in there, and it's just a bunch of Docademic
don't even say the
bots. So know that if you're sending bots to our Twitter or on our post, it's more sketchy than if you just said nothing at all.
And I mentioned this to you the other day. If you have something you're trying to promote on Twitter, instead of having 50 bots all say, Docademic, can't wait for it to come out, or this XYZ token, can't wait for this to buy this. This is such a good project. Look at this team. If I see that in a row, I know it's a scam, or I know it's bots. It's not a scam, sorry, but I know it's bots. If you would just have one or two people give a good content answer, like the positive and the negative, even if you had someone kind of give a negative or like a warning and just say, hey, this is kind of, what about this issue? What about these hurdles they have to overcome? That would actually make me think that it's more legit, and I would actually look into it more because I'm seeing opposite sides. I'm seeing a good conversation around whatever the ICO is.
I think Hughes wanted to bring something up. We just pulled up the website, and it oh man, I'm speechless. So go ahead.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
I mean, who's this guy? John who?
John McAfee is on the front page of their website.
Yeah.
He's on the front page of their website.
Yes. Yeah. So now you have two instances. That's two strikes. So I'm sure I could go down in their website and find the third strike. But the fact that they have bots on our Twitter and have John McAfee right on the top of their website is a complete red flag. So just no, please. And bots that are also tweeting the giveaways, please stop.
Yeah,
Please stop.
That's ridiculous.
And that's part of a larger overall trend in Twitter that's really starting to kill crypto Twitter, #crypto Twitter. Anybody that posts anything now, there's a bot that is trying to, what is the word I'm looking for? Trying to be them.
Spam,
trying to
impersonate them and then trying to steal. And it's so old. It's such a tired tactic. How are you still?
It's all broken English. It's all it's bad.
Are people still making money from these scams?
I honestly, I haven't made much. It's kind of winding down, So, but yeah, no. Overall, I think the market will take care of that. It's just like any other new industry that comes out. Overall, like these things will come up and these bad players will take advantage of it, and overall, the market will move in the right direction, and
right.
Well,
and Jack Dorsey, the CEO founder of Twitter, he is a proponent of cryptocurrency. So if he really cares about this space, I think they'll do something to try and take care of this ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 50,000 followers and we're not verified. Verification is the whole purpose of verification is to stop people from doing impersonations and putting words in other people's mouths. So when we post something and there's an impersonator that's immediately following it up with our picture, with our type of language saying, hey, we're giving away free ETH or whatever it is, the verification is made for that. So why, if Jack Dorsey is going to be a proponent of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin, why wouldn't he try to move the company in a direction where they can kind of protect investors in the space?
I think he's moving towards allowing that verification for people or organizations don't fit the criteria of a bar that, let's say, is set right now or whatever the restriction is. So I think I've heard about them.
They're trying to open it up to basically everyone.
Exactly.
Right. So now the bots can get verified.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just got the tick notice that we're winding down here. So it was a great roundtable. I think this might be the first time that all four of us got together. We'll look to definitely make it more of an occurrence going forward. So if you guys want to leave comments, you can tweet us on the post that we make about this roundtable, or you can comment on the YouTube video, or you can send a comment to team@ICOalert.com. Because we get forwarded those a lot. So, so if you guys want to send us comments, if you want to tweet at us, please do. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. So, peace out.
ICO Alert maintains the only trusted comprehensive list of pre-ICOs and initial coin offerings. This Pittsburgh-based startup has grown to serve over 1 million users in less than a year. But how did it get started? Well, at first, the company was just an online tool for two brothers, Mike and Rob Finch, to keep a calendar of their favorite ICOs. After just a few months, the team has grown to over 14 team members and produced hundreds of ICO reports. These in-depth reports feature exclusive interviews and offer insight into past, active, and future ICOs. Head on over to ICOalert.com, meet the team, and use their game-changing My Portfolio function. Track your favorite blockchain projects. Become your own venture capitalist. Only at ICOalert.com.